Now, can I ask, was it something Andy said that made you leave Southampton?
I think it was the first day I worked at Southampton. I got put with Andy. That was where I learned. Yeah, my first day. Yeah, so both from Sparshot College. My first day, I used to be a season ticket holder at the Dell and St Mary's. And yeah, it's something that I just got into as a youngster. My first day, I cycled to the training ground. I used to cycle 15 miles to the training ground, then get half an hour train, and then on the way back was the exact same. So 30 miles a day, working with the grounds team at Southampton. I fell in love with it. My first day though was with Andy in a really rusty red Hydromain with a little cedar on the back. And Andy's job for the day, if I'm right, Andy, was to like seed the pitches. And I mean, this is like
Renovation, wasn't it?
renovation. Was it 4 pitches in a goalkeeper's area or 3 in a goalkeeper's area? This Hydromain didn't have any like air conditioning on it, anything like that. So Dave Roberts and Graham were like, go and sit with Andy and stadium, and you can sort of speak to him. We got on this Hydromain. Andy was like, I got in it. This story has come out a little couple of weeks ago, and I looked at Andy. I was, oh, hi, I'm Carl. Nice to meet you. And Andy just turns at me and he goes, nice to meet you. Sit down. And I'm like, oh, like, what have I done? Sat down, and that was it. The machine started. I have never sat in anything as loud as that in my life. So literally, if we wanted a conversation, we couldn't. And I remember my first day, I was really nervous, and I sat in this machine. I've got the guy from like St Mary's next door to me, and Andy said, "Go on, you have a go." So okay, no problem. Sat in the machine, drove. I'm going down these pitches, over the first pitch, over the second pitch, over the goalkeeper's area. Got to the fourth pitch, turned around, realised the seeded just died. I'm thinking, what have I done? And very coolly, Andy just said, just turn around and do it again. So we did, and that was it. And then sort of our friendship sort of blossomed from then onwards. I mean, leaving Southampton was hard. It's the team that I grew up at, the Dell, watching Matt Letizia score that last-minute goal against Arsenal. The last goal at the Dell, that place just rocked. To go into this fancy new stadium for the first 6-7 games, lost. And again, sort of seeing everything around me, and then working for your boyhood club who you supported so much, and again, seeing behind the scenes. I mean, the seasons that I was there, I mean, at one point, Clive Woodward was our manager. Harry Redknapp came in. I think we had like 6 managers in one season after George Burley. I mean, it was up and down at times. But you still love this brilliant little Marchwood on the edge of the New Forest training ground. And on match days, I'd go over into the stadium and help out. But the day that I remember I sort of packed my car up and go into that there London, it was hard, and it was really hard to sort of leave. My family is still down in Southampton, and like I said, I'll go down for a break with my wife and my little daughter. And 9 times out of 10, I'll go and see the man on this call as well, and go and say hello. And like I said, our wives know each other. We both got daughters. So no, just gonna have a catch up. But no, Andy wasn't the reason I left Southampton. He was probably one of the hardest things to probably leave with that team of great grounds people, I must admit.
It's remarkable that the 2 guys sitting in that noisy machine, how many years ago was that? In the early 2000s?
About 18, yeah.
Yeah, I've now moved on to have 2 of the biggest jobs in the industry. I mean, if you put money on that, you'd have both not needed to work. You could have retired in the back of it. Is there? I mean, Southampton is not the biggest club in England, but they must have something down there. Is it the climate? Is it what is it that has nurtured you, Per, and Dave Roberts and others?
I can't speak for Dave to where he came from. I know where he came from, literally, but but I personally know Carl does as well. My first 9 years of my career was under Dave, and I said it before, and I'll say it forever. I couldn't have asked for a better mentor, tutor, teacher just for the first 9 years of my career than Dave Roberts, basically. So I know for a fact that that's where my footing came from. And as I say, Carl wasn't quite there for as long as I was, but Dave is the same thing. So, and again, I said it before that, Southampton isn't just a great academy of football players, it's an academy of ground staff as well. And that is, I Italia. So and again, I've said it previous, but there's a fair few good guys that have come out of Arsenal as well, to gone on to great and good things around Europe. But yeah, indeed, in terms of us, it might be the climate. It might make us look better than we are. I don't know.
I agree with Andy on that one. I think Dave was the first day I remember going to St Mary's at the last game. I can't remember. I think it's Newcastle Saints were playing, about to start my sort of 10-week placement at Southampton, and it's a 10 weeks turned into 18 weeks, and then I didn't want to go back to college after that because I loved it. I think the way that Dave made it, so everyone was allowed an idea, and everyone was allowed a process, and everyone was allowed a thought. And I remember one day I was at the training grounds, and I've been there for probably 3 years, and I've been helping over at St Mary's. Andy with as well at the time. I think I remember saying, like, if Andy's never at Bournemouth and you need someone to cut Dean Court, then like, I'll be really available. And I think Dave was really open to a youngster coming in and going, well, this is what I would like to do. Well, how do you envisage getting there then? And I remember me finishing Sparshow and the sort of original head groundsman, Tom Jewett, Graham Mills and Dave Roberts having a conversation about me being at college, and they said, you need to go back to college, you need to get your education, you can't just come to Southampton, you need to go and do that. But they were open to that. I think that's my biggest learning is from those guys and listening to Dave. And I wanted to go to the stadium, and he said it might be a little bit sort of tricky. We've got Ricky at the stadium, Andy at the stadium. I said, well, I just love to work in a football stadium, that the microclimate is very different. You're in a building. And Dave was really open to that. And again, it was like, well, would you like to come and do youth games? Would you like to do Premier League games? Would you like to come and assist Andy? I mean, and he was always open. And I think that's one thing that I've probably taken into my grounds team at the stadium now, Wembley, is that mindset of, because it was my first ever real manager, you listen and you just literally soak it all in. And Dave does have that sort of behaviour in him, and I think that's sort of shown throughout the team. Quite calm, cool-headed, and sort of believes in myself and Andy. And he was open to us about when he went for the Wembley job, the process in 2004, or 2005, sorry. So, yeah, I think he's one of the real big linchpins that we all sort of listened to and learnt from.
Now, just before we go, what's the vintage of the Southampton shirt behind you? Because people might be interested if you see half the shirt in the picture.
That is my leaving shirt from Saints. So it's Wembley 06. It's signed by all the players, all the team, as well as Mr. Andy Gray and Mr. Dave Roberts and Graham Mills and everyone else, and Dan Osborne at the stadium. So when I left Southampton, I got a shirt with Wembley 06. My starting 1st of March 2006. I started here, and I got a signed shirt. So that's in the office. And if I'm right in saying, Andy, behind your desk.
Yeah, I'm not in it at the moment, but yes, you're right, there is. I've got my 20-year shirt, up in my office at St George's Park, Wonderful. Unfortunately, I'm sat in the meeting room in St George's now, so I haven't got it behind me. I've got Ray Wilkins behind me instead.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very, very much for your time this afternoon. It's been fascinating. It's delighted to get a chance to meet you virtually, if not in real life. And I know we'll all sit back and enjoy the Euros. I'll be looking forward to Andy Robertson picking up the trophy at the end of the tournament. You guys might be different. It might be Harry Kane for you guys, but we'll all keep our fingers crossed, and we hope it all goes well. And again, thank you very much for your time, both. Thank you.